BC family and friends. What's going on? So I got some more VCLT. I'll tell you what, it's been just an absolute blessing. Thank you so much, folks, for sending me music, sending me records. Thank you. You know, it really is the thing that I enjoy, you know, is to listen to music, make music, and to kind of ogle records as well as listen to them. You know, they're just a fun thing still. I'm glad that a simple thing like this can still bring me a lot of enjoyment. You know, I'm glad that I don't have to conquer nations or destroy people's lives to get a kick. And these are the people that we're voting for and giving lots of money to. We believe their lives as they destroy us. Getting set up for an appointment just to get an assessment is a challenge. I want to go to Creighton. I want to get them to assess me, and so I'm waiting. You know, you make the call and then you get it. Things are just really not well in America. Okay, I'm going to get to some music in a second, but I'm just telling you. You know, this is why. Anyone that knows me personally knows that I try to stay off the grid as much as possible and deal with the system as little as possible. And the reason is because every time I deal with it, it just shows me just how fucked up everything is, how sick it is, and how the focus of our society is just wrong. So to speak of something right, let's talk about the camaraderie that we experience here in the VC. It's cool. It's not because we can't equitably interact with everyone, and you know, it stands to reason that we all wouldn't equitably get along. But some real connections I feel I've made here. You know, even though I don't talk to the people all the time. I just received some records from Chris4127basket in Switzerland, and it will be long periods when I go of not watching his videos. Then when I watch him, it's always good to see him. Like I said, there was a time there where I just stopped watching videos because it just made me hungry and I just couldn't buy. But Chris, his personality, the way he delivers, the way he talks is very... I know that I would really like this person. If we met in person, I would love to meet you, Chris. And you're so kind because, you know, your letter is wonderful. You sent me wonderful records. I don't know what I just said, but I'm just trying to express appreciation for the vinyl community connections that I have and the kindness that people continue to show me, and friendship. You know, it's a sign of friendship. So, Chris, thanks for sending me these records. And here's what he sent me, folks. Chris had asked me, he said, did you need a copy of, let me make sure I get the right title of this REM album, Reckoning. And I said, yeah. So he sent me a nice UK pressing, which is even nicer. You know, I live in the United States, and so I love pressings of records from other countries. Yeah, very much. And I really appreciate this because I knew, probably if I saw them, they'd remember me. I knew REM at this time, played a show with them, which Chris remembers me talking about. You people, the way that you remember what I talk about sometimes amazes me. But yeah, played a show with them. My band Digital Sex opened for them on the Murmur Tour. But they came through Omaha so often that I ended up partying with them several times on 3 different occasions that I can remember. And honestly, I don't remember because I was, like a lot of people in my 20s, I was partying hard. Great album. REM is just a great band. Great band. An American institution. Everything you sent me was absolutely fantastic. It's already mixed up because I had company last night, which was interesting. I ended up having to use my medical and mental health background last night. A friend of mine who revealed after he passed out and fell out here and destroyed my heater that he had been doing meth. Huh? Duh. Been done with mess for 30 years. Yeah, for a second, I was assessing, is my friend passed out or is he dying? I do have those skills, people. Okay, back to the records. Great records. It's great how you remember what I talk about, Chris, because I had showed a CDR of this. Kushik, be with. Psychedelic, not old. This was put out in 2005. And it's some American guy. But boy, did he get this right. This is this turns out that this is a single, a 12-inch single from the album that I have on CDR. This is a great sound. People talk about Tame Impala. Check this out. Kushik. Or Temples. Excuse me. This guy sounds like them, but way before them, in the tradition. This is great. Kushik, be with. And the last two that I'll show that you gave me, just both, are just wonderful. Thank you. They're major additions to my collection, as you know from the letter. You sent me Ange's second album, Le Cimetière de Harlequin. What a neat band. What a cool cover, and what a neat sound they have with that organ. And the expressiveness of the vocals. I actually read the words. I can't speak French. I only understand it minimally because of when I was around the French kids as a kid. I had to pick up on it. So I can pick up on the fervor of the delivery of the lyrics here. And what a great band. And what a wonderful addition to my collection. Thank you so much. And this last one, although a reissue, this is a very welcome to my collection. Caetano Veloso. In the letter, I think you wrote, before I say it. Okay, so you didn't say it's his first. You said, so here is his 69 self-titled LP. When I put this online to show folks, I had mistakenly called it his first album, and then another friend who I've never met, Nilio, down in Brazil, wrote to say this is actually Caetano Veloso's second solo album, and then he showed me a picture of the first one. This is excellent. Caetano Veloso is a living legend of Brazilian music, freedom fighter. To me, he's someone that I admire for standing up for his music and freedom, actually did time in jail and was deported and stuff. Thank you so much for this. Chris4127basket, thank you so much. I say thank you so much, it almost seems inadequate. And along those lines, I want to continue to talk about what's going on, which is a friend, Miguel, started a fundraiser for getting for oral surgery. So it's going to be more than just getting a tooth, because of all this gap toothness stuff. I won't be able to just see a dentist. I'm going to have to see an oral surgeon. More than likely, they're going to want to do a lot of things. I'm going to tell you up front, I'm not interested in having all these teeth removed and getting dentures. I'm not going for that. I can imagine them, because of the gaps and the gum disease, which I'm sure I have, they're going to talk about things like that. And I'm going to say, let's just get this together in the front. I do not need to lose all my teeth, okay? I'm not going for it. Just letting you know up front, okay? Because I worked in the mental health system. I worked in the health system. They go together. And I've seen it happen at least a dozen times over 30 years where poor people are railroaded into they're going to fall out eventually. Just get them all taken out anyway. And the excruciating pain that the people go through after having all their teeth removed, waiting for them to heal. And several people getting funky dentures that they don't even fit right. My mom was one. She couldn't stand the dentures. They didn't fit right. When you're poor, you don't get the high quality work that we deserve. I mean, you might get lucky. chances are you'll get shoddy work. So anyway, what I'm getting at is I'm thankful for the fundraiser. I mean, please help me out, because chances are this is going to be thousands of dollars of work. I'm not going to be able to get something cheap. You know, the gaps between my teeth are too wide for me to do a temp tooth. So I'm thankful I've raised over $2,000 in 2 days, or Miguel has for me. And on top of that, the local newspaper ran the story, picked up on the story. One of the local music writers caught me while I was on Facebook and messaged me and asked if we could write a story about it. And they put it in the paper yesterday, which I really appreciate. And they always call me a legend, local music legend. And some people in the past have said they don't like that word legend because it implies that what you've done is over. Whatever it implies to others, that what it means to me is something different. And I love it when people call me a legend. Thank you. Whatever you mean, I know what it means to me. So people have just been pouring out a lot of love. I even got a nice donation from the director of the movie April Showers that I worked in years ago. The movie about Columbine. Andrew Robinson, the director, writer of the movie, was an actual student at Columbine and was familiar with the students that shot everyone. I did wardrobe for his movie. He wrote a wonderful, blew my mind what he said about me. It's on Facebook. So kind, so kind. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it so much. So that's where that's at. People are ordering my records. I just got an order from Tim Moss from Men of Porn, who also is, I wonder, Tim, if you're still the road manager for Melvin's. I know you have been. But Tim just ordered Flyover and Murphy on vinyl. Thank you. You know, another way to support me is to buy my records. And I'll say it again, and if it sounds arrogant, I pay the price. But many of you people, you can buy what you want. My records are of a quality. My records stand up to most anything that you're buying. That's all I want to say. It's good shit. Okay, let's talk a little more about music. Pull this last night. The Sons of Champlin, Loosen Up Naturally, came out in 1969. San Francisco area band. Horns, a lot of soul inflection in the music. Bill Champlin, the leader of the band, went on to become the lead singer of Chicago for 30 years. I understand he's not with the band anymore. Freedom, the sidelong track of this, I heard it on FM Underground Radio as a kid. That's how I found out about this album. Double album. This is fantastic. Also, a bit of a collector's note. You won't see it here, but in the cartoon on the cover there, in the cartoon, the word bubble is the expletive fucking. And the band almost got away with it being on the cover. So, but what they did was, once they saw it, they recalled the albums, and the first batch, someone used just an ink pen to scratch the word out, and that's one that I have. Later copies, they completely removed it, so this is the first edition. Well worth seeking out if you like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Horns, if you like San Francisco, Sons of Champlin, badass. Here's an album I've had forever, and I've only recently found out any background on it. The Face Dancers. I found this as a cutout 40 years ago, easily 40 years ago. I was blown away by the music because it's progressive. It's an American band, but they play jazzy, progressive, classically influenced music. The singer has a really high voice, which I found very annoying. I can handle it better now. But I've never understood, and I'll say it now, about Rush. I don't understand the appeal of that type of caterwauling. And that's what we have on here with scats singing. It almost destroys the songs, in my opinion, but the songs on here are so good. It's produced by Miles Davis's producer, Tio Macero. Turns out that Tio Macero was moonlighting for money while working on Bitches Brew, and he produced this at the same time he was working on Bitches Brew. So the production quality of this album is high, but the musicianship of this album is also very high. I highly recommend this. Face Dancers, 1972. I can remember that now. I once had the original of this and sold it, but I did get a reissue. It was originally Warsaw. Joy Division was originally Warsaw, An Ideal for Living. I had an original on the Anonymous label. Sold it for good money, but I have a reissue. I was just showing this to someone. I haven't played it. Don't need to play it, really. Debille Menthol. I don't know if they're French or Swiss, but this is fantastic in the rock and opposition school of music, like Henry Cow, Etran Foulet-Leblanc, stuff like that, where it's very creative musically. The players are very good musicians. The music changes a lot. I don't know what they're singing about. It's probably very topical. But this is awesome. Émile Aujardin. Fantastic. Another one from the late 70s. Chicks on Speed. Chicks on Speed, pretty cool. I found that this is an album there's called 99 Cents, and I found it years ago as a picture disc, so it plays crappily, but the Chicks on Speed are to be recommended. On this record, for example, they do Wordy Rapping Hood by Tom Tom Club, do a good version of it. But on the album, they also have Kevin Blechdom and Miss Kitten as, and the girl from Le Tigre. This is just really, really good. It's hard to think of how to describe the music. Chicks on Speed. Give them a listen. Got into some Vandergraaf Generators. Played this all the way through last night. Vandergraaf. The Quiet Zone, The Pleasure Dome. This is the one album they made with Graham Smith without Hugh Banton. There are many Vandergraaf fans who don't particularly care for this era, but this is a very good band. Very good album, too. I'd like to point out that the bass player, right there, Nick Potter, who is deceased, he came up with a bass tone, very compelling, growling, really heavy. I've never heard anyone else do it. He really does it to great effect on this album. It's such a intense, wonderful bass tone. It's interesting that no one has tried to copy it. He's the only person I've ever heard make the bass sound like it. On this album, growling, heavy, powerful. This is out to be played. Graham Smith is also on this live album by Vandergraaf. So I pulled this to play. It's been years since I played this. Listen to this last night. Unhalf-Bricking by Fairport Convention. I love folk music, and I can listen to folk music a lot more easily than a lot of blues. And I see them a lot in the same light. Blues and folk music having the same roots. This is not an original pressing, but it's an old one. Island has had a lot of neat labels, label designs. I'd love to get some Pink Islands. I only have one album on the early Pink Island label design. They had 2 Pink designs, and I'd like to get some more records on that label design. Wonderful band, Fairport Convention. Sandy Denny, Who Knows Where the Time Goes? If you know that song, you know what I'm talking about, okay, which is on this album. Richard Thompson, the guitarist, was still a teen, I believe, at the time of this album. Amazing. Julian Cope, the guy that wrote the book Krautrock Sampler, which is very collectible. And if I was willing to sell this, I could get 100+ for it. I don't want to sell these things. That's the joy, is to have it. I don't want to just get money to pay bills and then sit here, oh, my bills are paid. I want to have fun. I just want to keep saying this because the world is just really topsy-turvy. And some of the most despicable people are eating the finest food, wearing the finest clothes, doing all this stuff, and we're suffering, okay? I'll call this back. It's my brother. That's why I do that, because I know that's what's going on. It's just not right. Julian Cope Fried, what an album. And yeah, he did a lot of acid, you know, and was getting out of his head at this time. You know, he did, but this is a great album. He wrote a lot of really good songs. Showed you those. I think I'm about caught up. That's my brother. I'm going to catch up to him. Yeah. Okay, folks. I'll talk to you in a minute. Please consider making a donation so I can get my teeth, my mouth worked on. It's going to be more than my teeth.